on the age of one moon. The moon blew up without warning and for no apparent reason. It was waxing only one day. The time was 050012 UTC. Later, designated A plus 0.0 or simply 0. An amateur astronomer in Utah was the first person honored to realize something unusual was happening. Moments earlier, it noticed flourishing and ascending in the lunar camp near the moon's equator. He assumed it was the dust of a meteor strike. He ordered logged the event. Was clear. Could to secure the coin. Other astronomers will soon be pointing telescopes at the same dust cloud. It must be already. But supposing he was on storms, he would be the first pointed out. The fame would be his. If the meteorite left behind a visible crater, perhaps he even had his name was forgotten. By the time he got his phone in his pocket, his Quaker alone exists, nor did the moon. What we don't do, except for Warren Buffett's letter attached 2010 annual report. Long ago, Charlie laid out a strong observation.
All I want to know is where I'm going to die. So I'll never go there. That bit of wisdom was inspired
by
Jacobi, Prussian mathematician,
who counseled invert, always invert, as an aid to solve problems. I can report it as well. Approach works on a less old level. Seeing a country's universe, and you quickly recover your cows and wife. Here are a few examples of Charlie thinking about Berkshire. Charlie and I avoid businesses whose futures can devalue, no matter how exciting it may be. In the past, it requires no brains for people to foresee the growth that industries had already had. Aircraft, 1930, and television sets in 1950. But the future then also included competitive dynamics, or decimated almost companies entering those districts, even the survivors bleeding. Just because Charlie and I can clearly see dramatic growth for the industry does not mean we can judge what is profit margins and returns on capital. A host of competitors battle for supremacy, and Berkshire built businesses whose profit predicted for decades to come. Predictable. Even then, plenty of mistakes. What we don't do, except for Warren Buffett's letter attached for Berkshire Hathaway's 2010 annual report. Long ago, Charlie laid out his strongly established. All I want to know is when I'm about to die, so I never go there. That would be wisdom with my magical cup, a great Prussian mathematician, counsel. Invert, always invert, as an aid different problems. I can report as well a version approach, less lofty level. Seeing a country's on an universe, and you quickly recall a house and wife. Here are a few examples of how imply Charlie thinking at Berkshire. Charlie and I avoid businesses whose futures we can't evaluate, no matter how it may be. In the past, for people foresee the fabulous growth that we in such industries as autos in 1910, aircrafts in 1930, and television sets in 1950. But the future then also included competitive dynamics that would definitely all the companies entering those industries. Even the survivors tend to come away bleeding. Just because Charlie and I can clearly see dramatic industry does not mean we can judge what is profit margin and returns on capital as a host of competitors battle for some. At Berkshire, we will stake whose profit picture for decades to come seems reasonably predictable. Even more, we will make plenty of mistakes. What we don't do. Excerpted from Warren Buffett's letter attached to Berkshire Hathaway's 2010 annual report. Long ago, Charlie laid out his strongest ambition. All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. That bit of wisdom was inspired by Jacobi, the great Prussian mathematician who concealed invert, always invert, as an aid to solve difficult problems. I can report as well that this inversion approach works on a less lofty level. Sing a country song in reverse, and you will quickly recover your car, house, and wife. Here are a few examples of how we apply Charlie's thinking at Berkshire. Charlie and I avoid businesses whose future we can evaluate, no matter how exciting their products may be. In the past, it required no brilliance for people to foresee the fabulous growth that awaited such industry as autos in 1910, aircrafts in 1930, and television sets in 1950, but the future then also included competitive dynamics that would decimate almost all of the companies entering those industries. Even the survivors tended to come away bleeding. Just because Charlie and I can clearly see dramatic growth ahead for an industry does not mean we can judge what its profit margins and returns on capital will be as a host of competitors battle for supremacy. At Berkshire, we will stake with businesses whose profit picture for decades to come seems seasonably predictable. Even then, we will make plenty of mistakes. What we don't do. Except Warren Buffett's letter attached Berkshire Hathaway's 2010 annual report. Long ago, Charlie laid out his extraordinary ambition. All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I never go there. That would be wisdom by Jacobi, a great Prussian mathematician who counseled invert, always invert, as an aid to solve a difficult problem. This inversion approach was less lofty level. Sing a country song in reverse, or quicker recover house and wife. Here are a few examples of how we apply Charlie's thinking at Berkshire. Charlie and I avoid businesses whose futures we can evaluate, no matter how exciting may be. In the past, it required no brilliance for people to foresee the fabulous growth that awaited such industry in autos in 1910, aircrafts in 1930, and television sets in 1950. But the future then also includes competitive dynamics and decimate all of the companies entering those industries. Even the survivors tend to come away bleeding. Just because Charlie and I clearly dramatic growth for industry does not mean we can judge what capital host competitive battle for supremacy. Supremacy.
We will make plenty of mistakes.
Plenty of mistakes. The Rational Optimist by Matley. Prologue. When ideas have sex. In other classes of animals, the individual advances from infancy to age maturity, and he attains no compass of a single life to all the perfection his nature can reach. But in the humankind, the species have progressed as well as the individual. They build on every subsequent age on foundations formally laid. On my desk, as I read, it said two artifacts roughly the same size and shape. One is a cordless commitment. The other is a hand axe from Middle Stone Age, 500,000 years old. both are designed to
obey the constraints of being used by human beings,
but they are vastly different. One is a complex many substances, intricate internal design, reflect multiple streams of knowledge. The other is a single substance reflecting the skill of a single individual. The difference between them shows that human experience of today is vastly different from human experience of half a million years ago.
This book
is about the rapid, continuous, and incessant change that human society experiences no other animal does. What is it about human beings that enable them to keep changing their lives in this tumultuous way? Tumultuous way. The Rational Optimist by Matthew. Prologue. When ideas have sex. In other classes, the animals, the individual advances from infancy to age of maturity, and he attains a compass of single life to all the perfections nature can reach. But in the humankind, the species has progressed as well as the individual. They build on every subsequent on the foundations formally laid.
On my desk,
as I read, sell two artifacts with roughly the same size and shape. One is a cordless computer house, the other a hand axe for the Middle Stone Age, half a million years old.
Both
are designed to fit a human hand,
to obey the constraints of being used by
human beings.
But they are
vastly different.
One is a complex confection of many substances with intricate internal design, reflecting multiple strands of knowledge.
The other is a single substance reflecting the skill of a single individual. The difference between them shows the human experience of today is vastly different from the human experience of half a million years ago.
This book
is about the rapid, continuous, and incessant change that human society experiences in a way that no other animal does. What is it about human beings that enable them to keep changing their lives in this tumultuous way? The Rational Optimist. Prologue. When ideas have sex. In other classes of animals, the individual advances from infancy to age or maturity, and he attains, in the compass of a single life, to all the perfection his nature can reach. In the humankind, the species has a progress as well as the individual. They build in every subsequent age on foundations formally laid. On my desk, as I write, see two artifacts of roughly the same size and shape. One shape. One is a cordless computer mouse, the other a hand axe from the Middle Stone Age, half a million years old. Both are designed to fit human hand, to obey the constraints of being used by human beings, but they are vastly different. One is a complex confection of many substances with intricate internal design reflecting multiple strands of knowledge. The other is a single substance reflecting the skill of a single individual. The difference between them shows that the human experience of today is vastly different from the human experience of half a million years ago. This book is about the rapid, continuous, and incessant change that human society experiences in a way that no other animal does. What is about human beings that enable them to keep changing their lives in this tumultuous way. The Rational Optimist by Matt Prologue. When ideas have sex. In other classes of animals, the individual advances from infancy to age of maturity, and he attains in the compass of a single life to all the perfection his nature can reach. But in the humankind, the species has a progress as well as the individual. They build in every subsequent on foundations formerly laid. On my desk as I write, see two artifacts of roughly the same size and shape. One is a cordless computer mouse, the other a hand axe from the Middle Stone Age, 500,000 years old. Both are designed to fit the human hand, to obey the constraints of being used by human beings. But they are vastly different. One is a complex confection of many substances with intricate internal design reflecting multiple strands of knowledge. The other is a single substance reflecting the skill of a single individual. The difference between them shows that the human experience of today is vastly different from the human experience of 500,000 years ago. This book is about the rapid, continuous, and incessant change that human society experiences no other animal does. What is it about human beings that enable them to keep changing their lives in this tumultuous way? Tumultuous way.
Storage containers are scarce. Tom Maker focused on small, squishy toys for the holidays. By Nathaniel Marison. J. Foreman, the chief executive of Tom Basic Fund, wasn't buying the summer. The end-of-year shopping rush was quickly approaching, but Foreman was struggling to book shipping containers to ferry the companies, which include talk trunks, cabbages, and Q-Titos. And when they did find some, the costs were exorbitant. In a normal year, Basic Funds, based in Florida, can export everything out of factories in China. At automatic forms, the company can set it and forget it. But not this year. Not in the year which 20-foot and 40-foot shipping containers became scarce and more expensive to deliver goods from back to U.S. port back. The spot rate of booking a boat with a container from Shanghai to Los Angeles is $10,229 the first week cost, up 238% of the same time prior, according to Drew, a maritime research consultant. So Foreman had to make a decision about which toys the Basic Fund would focus on sending stores for the holidays, and he had to make it by September, so the goal was arriving time. He found an easy answer to a complicated problem: small, squishy toys. Storage containers are scarce, so Tommy can focus on small, squishy toys for the holidays. By Nathaniel Marison. J. Foreman, the chief executive of Basic Fund, wasn't buying. The end-of-year holiday shopping rush was quickly approaching, but Foreman was struggling to book shipping containers to ferry the companies, which include talk trucks, cabbages, and Q-Titos. And when they did find some, the costs were exorbitant. In a normal year, Basic Fund, based in Boca Raton, Florida, can export everything's customer from factories in China. It's automatic, said. The company can set it and forget it. But not this year. Not in the year when 20-foot and 40-foot shipping containers became scarce and works more to deliver goods from factories overseas to U.S. reports and back. The spot rate of booking containers from Shanghai to Los Angeles is $10,229 the first week, up 238% for the same time year prior, according to Drew, a maritime
consultancy.
So Foreman had to make a
decision about which toys Basic Fund would focus on sending stores for the holidays.
And he had to make it by September,
so the good would arrive in time.
He found an easy
answer to complicated problems: small, squishy toys. Storage containers are scarce, so toy makers are focused on small, squishy toys for the holidays. By Nathaniel Meyerson. J. Foreman, the chief executive of toy maker Basic Fun, was in a bind over the summer. The end-of-year holiday shopping rush was quickly approaching, but Foreman was struggling to book shipping containers to ferry the company's toys, which include taco trunks, Care Bears, or potatoes. And when he did find some, the costs were exorbitant. In a normal year, Basic Fun, based in Boca Raton, Florida, can export everything its customers order from its factories in China. It's automatic, Foreman said. The company can set it and forget it. But not this year, not in the year in which 20-foot and 40-foot shipping containers became scarce and more expensive to deliver goods from factories overseas to U.S. ports and back. The spot rate of booking a 14-foot container from Shanghai to Los Angeles hit 10,229 the first week of August, up 238% from the same time a year prior. According to Jory, a maritime research consultancy, so Foreman had to make a decision about which toys Basic Fun would focus on sending stores for the holiday, and he had to make it by September so the goods would arrive in time. He found an easy answer to a complicated problem: small, squishy toys.
Let the World Pass You
By by Liu Babata.
The time you
enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Bertrand Russell.
I was sitting
I was
outside
sitting
my
outside my new home yesterday. We just moved last week, and we love the new place. Watching the world come by.
There were people in cars in a hurry to get to their next appointment. There were birds flying by.
Insects just busy as the people in cars.
Plants and weeds
thriving in the human warm climate.
Inside the house,
my children were busy, as ever, making a mess of the house.
My wife and I would soon
clean up
and
getting into things. Their natural curiosity overpowered in the previous film not to play with the lotion and taking things apart.
The sky was
slightly overcast, and then the recuperates
quite strong
and pleasant actually.
It's not often that
most of us just sit quiet and allow the world passes by. Why not? What is so important that can't wait until later? What email must be answered right this moment?
Do we really
Do you really need to read all those messages from others, all those newspapers and magazines?
Do we
need to have the television and radio internet on all the time?
Is
life passing us by has kept my mind super busy?
Are we missing out on the
beautiful world around us as we constantly think about the future? What we need to do, our anxieties about what might happen, and the past, what did wrong, what someone did to us, what we said, what should have happened.
When was the last time
observed? Why not do today? Why not do today? Why not do today?
Let the World Pass You By Aloud. The time you enjoy wasting is not wasted. Bertrand Russell. I was sitting outside my new home yesterday. We just moved last week and we love the new place, watching the world come by. The people in cars and hurry to get to the next appointment. There were birds flying by. Insects just as busy as the people in cars. Plants and weeds thriving in the human warm climate. Inside the house, my children were also busy as ever, making a mess of the house, with my wife and I will soon clean up and getting into things. Their natural curiosity overpowering in a previous place not to believe the notion taking no spot. The sky was less overcast and it was cold breeze, quite strong and pleasant actually. It's not often that most of us just sit quietly and allow the world passes by. Why not? What's so important that can't wait until later? What email must be answered right this moment? Do we really need to read all those out online? All those messages from others? All those newspapers and magazines? Do we need to have television, radio, and internet on all the time? Is life passing us by as we keep our minds super busy? Are we missing out on the beautiful world around us as we constantly think about the future, or what we need to do? Our anxieties about what might happen and the past, what we did wrong, what something did to us, what we said, what should have happened. When was the last time you just sat and observed? Why not do it today? Let the World Pass You By Aloud. The time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Bertrand Russell. I was sitting outside my new home yesterday. We just moved last week and we love the new place, watching the world go by. There were people in cars, in a hurry to get to their next appointment. There were birds flying by, insects just as busy as the people in cars, plants and weeds thriving in the humid current climate. Warm climate. Inside the house, my children were also busy as ever making a mess of the house, which my wife and I would soon clean up and getting into things. Their natural curiosity overpowering our previous pleas for them not to play with lotions or take things apart. The sky was slightly overcast, and there was a cool breeze, quite strong and pleasant actually. It's not often that most of us just sit quietly and allow the world to pass us by. Why not? What is so important that it can't wait until later? What email must be answered right this moment? Do we really need to read all those articles online, all those messages from others, all those newspapers and all those newspapers and magazines? Do we need to have the television and radio and the internet on all the time? Is life passing us by as we keep our minds super busy? Are we missing out on the beautiful world around us
as we constantly think about the future, what we need to do, our anxiety about what might happen, and the past, what we did wrong, what someone else did to us, what we said, and what we should have happened. When was the last time you just sat and observed? Why not do it today?
Dune
A
Review,
Hero in the Making on Shifting Sands. Denis Villeneuve's adaptation is an equally sweeping intimate take on the Frank Herbert's future shock epic by Manola Dodges. In the galaxy far, far away, a young man under the same sun faces a foreboding destiny. The threat of work engineer. At the brink of a crisis, he navigates a feudal court with an evil emperor, noble houses, and subjugate peoples. A tale read out and read at home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is Dune, baby. Frank of a science fiction opus. Make another run global box on domination, even as he head towards controversy and messianic protagonist signify. The movie is a endeavor from director Denis Villeneuve, Arrival. The story some just take on novel first time. Published in 1965, a purpose book is a beautiful behemoth. My copy writes almost 900 pages, crowded with rulers and rivals, witches and warriors. Herbert had a lot to say about religion, ecology, the fate of humanity, and drew from astonishment the sources from mythology and indigenous cultures. Inspired by government effort to keep centuries, he dreamed up the desert planet of water with a new petroleum. The result is a future shock epic that reads like a cautionary tale for our environmentally ravaged world. Dune Review, a hero and making on Shifting Sands. Denis Villeneuve, without teaching, is an equally sweeping intimate take on the Frank Herbert's future shock epic by Manola Dodges. In the galaxy far, far away, a young man under the same sun faces a foreboding destiny. The threat of work engineer. At the brink of a crisis, he navigates a feudalist world with an evil number, noble houses, and subjugate peoples. A tale read out of mythology, and right home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is Dune, baby. Frank of a scientific opus. We're making another run over box domination, even as had the controversy about what is at the messianic protagonist signify. The movie is a hurried endeavor from director to Villeneuve. A starry scientist take on the novel's first half. Published in 1965, Herbert's books a beautiful behemoth. My copy was almost 9 pages, crowded with rulers and rivals, witches and warriors. Herbert had a lot to say about religion, ecology, the fate of humanity, and drew from the astonishment resources from greater mythology and additional cultures. Inspired by government effort to keep the sun doing it day, he dreamed up a dead planet, a water. Water is figure and reads like cautionary tale for our environmentally ravaged world.
Dune Review.
A young man and the same sun faces a foreboding destiny. A threat of war engineer. At the brink of a crisis, he navigates a fearless world and an evil emperor, noble houses, and subjugate peoples. A tale read out of mythology and read at home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is Dune, baby. Frank of a science fiction note, is making another run over box of domination, even as it had towards controversy about what it and messianic protagonist signify. The movie is a Herculean endeavor. The director Villeneuve, Arrival, a starry scientist take on novel's first time. Published in 1965, Herbert's books a beautiful behemoth. My copy runs almost 900 pages, crowded with rulers and witches and warriors.
Herbert had
a lot to say about religion, ecology, the fate of humanity, and drew from astonishing sources the great mythology additions cultures, inspired by government effort to keep sand into bay. He dreamed of a desert planet or water with new petroleum.
The result
is a
future shock
epic
that
and reads like a
for
cautionary tale for an environmental
ravaged
ravaged world.
Dune Review.
Dune
A Hero in the
Making,
Making.
a
They
chef.
write it home in
George
brain pen.
Lucas's brain pen.
But this is Dune,
That
baby.
this Dune
Frank
is
Herbert's
Frank
science
of
fiction
science
opus,
fiction
which is making
which
another run at
another
global
run
box
global
office
box
domination,
of domination,
even as it heads
even
toward
as it heads
controversy
toward
about what
controversy
it
about
and
what
its messianic
and the
protagonists
protagonists signify.
The movie
The
is a
movie
Herculean
is a
endeavor
Herculean
from the
endeavor
director
from
Denis
director
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve,
A
starry,
sumptuous take on the novel's first
on the
half.
novel first half.
Published in
Published in
1965,
1965,
Herbert's book is a beautiful behemoth. My copy runs almost 900
900
pages,
pages,
crowded with
crowded
rulers
with
and
rulers and
warriors.
witches and warriors.
Herbert had
Herbert
a
had a lot to say about religion, ecology, the fate of humanity,
and drew from an
astonishing resources from the mythology traditions cultures, inspired by government effort to keep sand into bay. He dreamed of a desert planet of water with new petroleum.
The result is a future shock
epic
that reads like a cautionary tale
cautionary
for our
tale for our
environmentally ravaged
environment
world.
ravaged world.
Dune see far a controversy about
As
what
about
and
what
its
its
messianic protagonists
protagonist signify.
The movie
The
is
movie
a
is a
Herculean endeavor
Herculean
from the
endeavor
director
from the
Denis
director
Villeneuve.
to Neil
Arrival.
Arrival,
A starry,
a
sumptuous
starry,
take on the novel's first
on the
half.
novel's first half.
Published in
Published in
1965,
1965,
Herbert's book is a beautiful behemoth.
My
My
copy runs almost 900
crowded
pages,
with
crowded
rulers
with rulers
witches
and
and
witches and warriors.
Herbert had a lot
Herbert has a lot to say about religion, ecology,
the fate of humanity,
a few
and drew from an
astonishing
astonishing
resources
from
from Greek
mythology
mythology
to
to additional cultures.
Inspired by
Inspired by
government
government
efforts
effort to keep
sand
sand into a bay.
He dreamed up
He
a desert
dreamed of a
planet
desert
where
planet
water
where water
was
with
the
new petroleum.
The result
The
is a
result
future
is a
shock
future shock
that
epic
reads like a
that reads
cautionary
like
tale for
cautionary
our
tale for our
environmentally ravaged
environmental
world.
ravaged world.
Dune Review.
A hero in the
making on shifting
sands.
Denis
The
Villeneuve's
Villeneuve's
adaptation is an equally sweeping, intimate take on the Frank Herbert's
freak shock epic
by Manola
Dodges.
In a galaxy
In the
far,
galaxy
far away,
far
a
away,
young man
that saves sand,
faces a
faces a
foreboding
foreboding
destiny.
destiny.
The threat of war hangs in the air.
At the brink of a crisis,
he
he navigates a fearless world with an evil emperor, noble houses, and subjugated
A tale right out of
the
mythology,
mythology,
and
and
right
right
home
home
in
in
George
George
Lucas'
Lucas' spray pen.
But this is
But this
Dune,
is Dune,
Frank
baby.
Herbert's
Frank
science
Herbert's
fiction
science fiction
which is
opus,
making
which is
another
making
run
another
global
run
box office
over box
domination,
office domination,
even as it heads
even as it
toward
had a
controversy
controversy
and
about
its
as
messianic
messianic
protagonists signify.
protagonist signify.
The movie
The
is a
movie is a
Herculean
Herculean
endeavor
endeavor from director
Denis
Denis
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, Arrival,
A starry,
a starry,
sumptuous take on the novel's
sumptuous
first
take on the
half.
novel's first half.
Published in
Published
1965,
in 1965,
Herbert's
Herbert's
book is a
beautiful behemoth.
My copy
My
runs almost
copy runs
900
almost
pages,
900 pages,
crowded with
crowded
rulers
with rulers
witches
and
and
witches and warriors.
Herbert had
Herbert had a lot to say about religion, ecology,
the
and the fate of humanity,
and drew from an
and drew from
astonishment of sources
astonishment
from
sources
Greek mythology to
to
indigenous cultures.
cultures.
Inspired by
Inspired by
government
government
efforts
efforts
to keep sand
sand
dunes
dunes
at
at
bay.
bay.
He dreamed up
He
a desert
dreamed of a
planet
desert
where water
planet
was
or
the
water with a new petroleum.
The result
The
is a
result
future
is a
shock
future shock
that
epic
reads like
that
a
reads
cautionary
like
tale
cautionary
for our
tale for our
environmentally
environmental
ravaged world.
ravaged world.
Dune Review.
A hero in the making on
shifting
shifting sand.
Denis
Villeneuve's
Villeneuve's
adaptation is an equally sweeping and intimate take on Frank Herbert's future shock epic by Manola Dodges.
In a galaxy far, far away, a young man in the sea of sad faces a foreboding destiny. The threat of war hangs in the air. At the brink of crisis, he navigates a feudalist world with an evil emperor, noble houses, and subjugate peoples, a tale right out of mythology, right at home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is doomed, Frank Herbert's science fiction opus, which is making another run at global box office domination, even as it has controversy about what is and the magazine of protagonist signify. The movie is a Herculean endeavor from director Denis Villeneuve, a story some take on the novel's first half. Published in 1965, Herbert's book is a beautiful behemoth. My copy runs almost 900 pages, crowded with rulers and rebels, which is a warrior. Herbert had a lot to say about religion, ecology, and drew from an astonishment of resources from Greek mythology, these cultures, inspired by government effort to keep Sandrian to obey. He dreamed of a desert planet where water was new petroleum. The result a future shock epic that reads like a cautionary tale for our environmental ravaged world. June Review: A Hero in the Making, on Shifting Sands. Denis Villeneuve's adaptation is an equal sweeping and intimate take on Frank Herbert's future shock epic by Mahard Georges. Dargis. In the galaxy far, far away, a young man in the sea of sad faces a foreboding destiny. The threat of war hangs in the air. At the brink of crisis, he navigates a feudalistic world with an evil emperor, noble houses, and subjugated peoples. A tale right out of mythology and right at home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is Dune, baby, Frankie Herbert's science fiction opus, which is making another run at global box office domination, even as it has towards controversy about what it and its messianic protagonist signify. The movie is a Herculean endeavor from the director Denis Villeneuve. A story Stumper's take on the novel first half, published in 1965. Herbert's book is a beautiful behemoth. My copy runs almost 900 pages, crowded with rulers and rebels, witches and warriors. Herbert had a lot to say, but religion, ecology, the fate of humanity, and draw from an astonishment of sources, from Greek mythology to indigenous culture, inspired by government efforts to keep sad dunes at bay. He dreamed up a desert planet where water was a new petroleum. The result is a future shock epic that reads like a cautionary tale for our environmentally ravaged world. Dune Review, a hero in the making on Shifting Sands. Denis Villeneuve's adaptation
intimate take on Frank Herbert's future shock epic by Manola Dodges. In a galaxy far, far away, a young man in a safe sand faces foreboding destiny. The threat of war hangs in the air. At the brink of a crisis, he navigates a feudalistic war with an evil emperor, noble houses and subjugated peoples, until right out the mythology and right at home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is Dune, baby. Frank Herbert's science fiction opus, which is making another run at the global fix. Even as its head was controversy about what it and its messianic. The movie is a Herculean endeavor from the director business rival, a starry Sumter's take on the novel's first published in 1965. Herbert's book is a beautiful behemoth. My copy runs almost 900 pages, crowded with rulers and rebels, witches and warriors. Herbert had a lot to say about religion, ecology, the fate of humanity, and drew from astonishing sources from Greek mythology to indigenous cultures. Inspired by government efforts to keep sand dunes at bay, he dreamed up a desert planet where water was a new petroleum. The result is a future shock epic that reads like a cautionary tale for our environmentally ravaged world. Dune Review, The Hero in the Making on Shifting Sands. Denis Villeneuve's adaptation is equally sweeping on Frank Herbert's super shock epic by Manola Dodges. In the galaxy far, far away, a young man in a safe sand faces a forgotten destiny. The threat of war has neared. At the brink of crisis, he navigates a fearless with the noble houses and subjugate peoples, until right out the mythology and right home in George Lucas' brain pan. Dune, baby. Frank over science fiction opus, which is making another run at global box office domination, even as its head toward controversy about what it and the messianic protagonist signify. The movie is a Herculean endeavor from director Denis Villeneuve. Arrival, a starry cinematic take on the novel's first half. Published in 1965, Herbert's book is a beautiful behemoth. My copy runs almost 900 pages, crowded with rulers and rebels, witches and warriors. Herbert had a lot to say about religion, ecology, the fate of humanity, and drew from astonishing resources from great mythology, traditional cultures. Inspired by government efforts to keep sand dune to bay, he dreamed up a desert planet of water with a new petroleum. The result is a future shock epic and reads cautionary tale for an environmentally ravaged world. Dune Review, A Hero in the Making on Shifting Sands. Daniel Villeneuve's adaptation is an equally sweeping and intimate take. Equally sweeping and intimate take on Frank Herbert's future shock epic. In a galaxy far, far away, a young man in a sea of sad faces a foreboding destiny. The threat of war hangs in the air. At the brink of a crisis, he navigates a feudalistic world. feudalistic, with an evil emperor, noble houses, and subjugated peoples, a tale right out of the mythology. And right at home in George Lucas's brain pan. But this is June, baby, Frankie Herbert's.
Markle on investing.
Markle on
Excerpted
investing.
from Markle Corporation's 2012 annual report.
Subject from Markle
By
investing.
considering four basic types of questions about individual companies and securities,
we try to develop enough confidence to make a decision.
Our first
question is this a
business
problem
with
with good returns on capital without using too much debt?
Second,
we ask ourselves, is the management team equally and sufficiently talented and honest?
Third,
we ask,
what are the
reinvestment dynamics of the and how do they manage capital?
And
finally, we ask, what is the evaluation? What do we have to pay for ownership?
Well, these are four simple questions.
The process of thinking deeply about tends to produce robust over time, as demonstrated by a long-term break.
Those questions also tend
to encompass consideration of some of the macroeconomic factors that tend to cause so much worry and anxiety for so many investors.
Markle.
Third, we ask, what are the reinvestment dynamics of how they manage capital? And finally, we ask, what is the valuation? What do we have to pay to acquire ownership of the business?
While these are
four simple questions, the process of thinking deeply about them tends to robust as demonstrated by a long-term record.
Those questions
also tend to encompass consideration of some macro
factors
that tend to cause so much worry and anxiety for so many investors.
Markle
on investing.
Excerpted
from Markle Corporation's 2012 annual report. By considering four basic types of questions about individual securities, we try to develop confidence.
Our first question
is this profitable with a good capital
without using
too much debt?
Second,
we ask ourselves, is the management team equally and sufficiently talented and honest? Third, we ask, what are the reinvestment dynamics of the business and how do they manage capital? And finally, we ask, what is the valuation? What do we have to pay to acquire ownership in the business?
While these are
four simple questions, the process of thinking deeply about them tends to produce robust results over time, as demonstrated by a long-term record.
Those questions
also tend to encompass consideration some of the macroeconomic factors that tend to cause so much worry and anxiety for so many investors. Markle on investing. Accepted from Markle Corporation's 2012 annual report. By considering our four basic types of questions about individual companies and securities, we try to develop enough confidence to make a decision. Our first question is this a profitable business with good returns on capital without using too much debt? Second, we ask ourselves, is the management team equally and sufficiently talented and honest? Third, we ask, what are the reinvestment dynamics of the business and how do they manage capital? And finally, we ask, what is the valuation and what do we have to pay to acquire ownership in the business? While these are four simple questions, the process of thinking deeply about them tends to produce robust results over time, as demonstrated by our long-term record. Those questions also tend to encompass consideration of some of the macroeconomic factors that tend to cause so much worry and anxiety for so many investors.
Markle on investing. Excerpted from Markle Corporation's 2012 annual report. By considering four basic types of questions about individual companies' securities, we try to develop enough confidence to make a decision. Our first question is this a profitable business with good returns on capital without using too much debt? Second, we ask ourselves, is the management team equally and sufficiently talented and honest?
Third, we ask, what are the reinvestment dynamics of the business and how do they manage capital? And finally, we ask, what is the valuation and what do we have to pay to acquire ownership in the business? Well, these are four simple questions. The process of thinking deeply about them tends to produce robust results over time and demonstrated by a long-term record. Those questions also tend to encompass considerations of some of the macroeconomic factors that tend to cause so much worry and anxiety for so many investors. Yeah. Marco on investing. Excerpted from Marco Corporation's 2012 annual report. By considering four basic types of questions about the individual companies and securities, we try to develop enough confidence to make a decision. Our first question is this a profitable business at good returns on capital without using too much debt? Second, we ask ourselves, is the management team equally and sufficiently talented and honest? Third, we ask, what are the reinvestment dynamics of business and how they manage capital? And finally, we ask, what is the valuation? What have to pay to acquire ownership in the business? While these are four simple, the process of thinking deeply about it tends to produce robust results over time, as demonstrated by a long-term record. Those questions also tend to encompass consideration of macroeconomic factors that tend to cause so much worry and anxiety for so many investors. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Translated by Chapter 1. Laying Planets. 1. Sun Tzu said, the art of war is a vital process to the state. 2. It is a matter of life and death, a road to safety or to ruin. Hence, is a subject of inquiry, which can on no account be neglected. 3. The art of war is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's operations when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining the field. 4. These are 1. The moral law. 2. Heaven. 3. Earth. 4. The commander. 5. Method and discipline. 5. 6. The moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with the ruler, so they will follow their lives and dismayed by danger. 7. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. 8. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. 9. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. 10. By method understood the marshalling of the army subdivisions, the graduations among the officers, the maintenance of rules by supplies, and control military expenditure. The Art of War by Sun Tzu, translated by Lionel Giles. Chapter 1. Laying Plans. 1. Sun Tzu said, the art of war is a vital important state. 2. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject being queried, which cannot be kept neglected. 3. The art of war is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's deliberations when seeking to determine the conditions of obtaining the field. 4. These are 1. The moral law. 2. Heaven. 3. Earth. 4. The commander. 5. Method and discipline. 5. 6. The moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with the ruler, so regardless of their lives, undismayed by danger. 7. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. 8. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. 9. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. By method and discipline are to be understood the marshalling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of rules by which supplies may reach their military expenditure. The Art of War by Sun Tzu, translated by Lionel Giles. Chapter 1. Laying Plans. 1. Sun Tzu said, the mark of war is a vital importance to the state. 2. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject being which cannot no account be neglected. The art of war is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's deliberations when seeking to determine obtaining and field. 4. These are 1. The moral law. 2. Heaven. 3. Earth. 4. The commander. 5. Method and discipline. 5. 6. The moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with the ruler, so they will follow them, regardless. 7. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. 8. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of the life and death. 9. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. To be understood, the marshalling of the army into its proper subdivisions, the graduation of the rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of military expenditure. Will Ferrell just wants to entertain you and himself by lazy roads. I've yet turned on the reporter, and Will Ferrell is always polished. He's rusty. He pulls. It's been a while since the interview, and kind requires to reflect on this career and displays a fast-changing. He's so sure he's any good at it, he's wrong. Will he be able to gin up a kind of anecdotes? He does. At one point, he tells me he's not a particularly good movie star. In fact, there are days convinced to may be a pretty bad one. Ian Ryan Reynolds, with a film at Boston film Big Splash and Christmas musical, talk about this a lot. We feel like we're constantly letting people down since Ferrell. Since falling into an amateur specially decorated rental away wife 3 since May. People come up to me all the time like, oh my gosh, it's you, do something funny. And I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Will Ferrell just want to entertain you and himself by lazy roads. I've yet turned on my recorder, and Will Ferrell has already apologized. He's rusty, he says, as he pauses about 2 coffees. Sat for Lincoln Murphy requires reflecting his career to the fast-changing business. As he's not so sure he's any good at it, he's wrong. Or that he'll be able to generate kind of anecdotes. He does. At one point, he tells me he's not a particularly good movie star. In fact, that days this may be a pretty bad one. He and Ryan Reynolds, and be here in Boston to film a big, splashy Christmas musical, talk about this line. We feel like constantly letting people down, says Ferrell, or 6'3", falling into armchair specially decorated heel rental, Bob's hole up, and wife and 3 points since May. People come to me all the time like, my gosh, it's you, do something funny. And I don't know what I'm supposed to say. When you confuse clarify intentions by Steve Pavlina. Whenever you get confused, it's often super helpful to pause and clarify intentions. Just declare what you actually want and send your truth. Express aloud or writing. Then let it sink in and see how your body, mind, and feelings react to it. Does your intention feel like true expression and desires? Does it feel a little obstacle? Do you like the internal reaction and create them? Does some part of you check? And if so, what's the specific objection, and how could you resolve that? Keep tweaking your intentions until you feel satisfied. You can really feel that it's yours. With practice, you often find yourself crafting nicely aligned intentions on the first try. One reason that sometimes draw and partial actions is that reality is trying to guess what we want. If we keep saying maybe to reality's offers instead of serving a firm yes or no, reality is getting confused. It can read our minds on a deeper level of clarity if our minds are confused. Even if reality could read our minds in such situations, if the only confusion. When we bring clarity to our minds first, we can clearly our desires to reality, and the reality can see the world being honest and responding in kind. Spencer Review. Prisoner of the House
Kristen Stewart stars
Chris
as
stars
an
and
anguished
anguished
Princess
rebellious
Diana
Chris
in Pablo
in Pablo
Larraín's
Larraín's Answer to the Crown
by A.O. Scott.
by A.O. Scotton.
Spencer
is a Christmas movie
in which a big,
and which a big
dysfunctional family gathers at the holiday
gathers to face, exchange gifts, and engage in peculiar traditions, and then provide a bit of fun.
Spencer
is a horror movie about a fragile woman or captive
tormented by sadistic
tormented by
monsters
sadistic monsters and their treacherous minions.
Spencer
is a
psychological
thriller about a powerful, unaccountable authoritarian cabal conspiring to crush the spirit of an independent minor rebel.
Spencer
is a love story,
a melodrama
of maternal devotion,
an early
on
90s
an early 90s fashion reel, and a very British baking show.
The scones and
pastries are organic.
Spencer described by its director,
Pablo Larraín,
as a fable from a
mature tragedy,
is all of the above,
and is also a fact-inspired drama about Diana, Princess of Wales, played with great grace by Kristen Stewart. Diana, who died in a car crash in 1997, whose maiden name gave Larraín the title, is hardly an obscure figure, the global celebrity and a table fixture in lifetime. She remains somehow irresistible. Irresistance. Irresistible. Spencer Review. Prisoner of the House Windsor.
Kristen
Stewart stars an anguished and rebellious Princess Diana in Pablo Larraín's Answer to the Crown by A.O. Scotton.
Spencer
is a Christmas movie
in which a big,
dysfunctional family gathers at the holiday to feast, exchange gifts, and engage in peculiar traditions, and provide a bit of fun.
Spencer
is a horror movie about a fragile woman held captive in a spooky mansion, tormented by sadistic monsters and their treacherous minions.
Spencer
is a psychological thriller about a powerful, unaccountable authoritarian cabal conspiring to crush the spirit of an independent rival.
Spencer is a love story,
a melodrama of maternal devotion, an early 90s fashion parade, and a very British baking show.
The scones
and pastries are organic.
Spencer described by its director, Pablo Larraín, as a fable from a true tragedy,
is also a fact-inspired drama about Diana, Princess of Wales, played with great grace by Kristen Stewart.
Diana, who died in a car
crash in 1997, and its main name gives Larraín its title. It's hardly an obscure figure, a global celebrity, and a table fixture in lifetime. She remains somehow irresistible.
Relentless commitment to long-term shareholder value, excerpted from Jeff Bezos' letter
attached to Amazon's 2001 annual report.
As I've discussed
many times before, we are firm believers that the long-term interests of shareholders tightly linked to the interests of customers. If we do our jobs right, today's customers will buy more tomorrow, or add more customers in the process, and will all add to the more cash flow, the more long-term value for our shareholders. To that end, we are committed to extending our leadership to influence the way benefits customers, and therefore, inherently, investors, you can't do one with the other.
As we kick off 2002,
I'm happy to report that I am enthusiastic about this business. There was more innovation ahead of us than behind us. We are close to demonstrating the operating leverage of business model. I get with the amazing team of Amazonians all over the world. Grateful. We thank you, our owners, for your support and encouragement, and for joining us on this venture. If you're a customer, we thank you again.